Alright, hello everybody. And today is just gonna be me, sort of an experiment, we'll see how it goes. And this team looks like it's going to be a Team Purple versus Team Green. And there is already a tactical pause made by rules. I know they've discussed it a little bit. Guess they're trying to establish a strat, but I think it's maybe a bit too early. And let's see how the map looks like. Alrighty then, I guess. Okay, the teams are split between the random, between the mirror, and I guess that's Romans against Romans. And I mean, I predict a very it could be a long game. When we practice the Roman versus Roman matchups, they were usually getting quite dragged out and long. Hope it's not going to be the case if I'm going to be casting this one alone, but we'll see how it goes. The bans were sort of predictable. Rules started off by banning Egyptians and Amazons, and then Zwerg proceeded to ban Asians, which I guess many people understand that it's one of the strongest race for rules. And then Feuer went to banning Egyptians and Amazons. Also not a big surprise there, and then ZWQ banned Asians. Also no surprise there. Feuer is known, at least I know him, as a very good Asian player in that case. The map looks to be very flat. There's quite a bit of mountain, although not close to the players, especially the ones that are more in the middle. So I guess there will be fight for the middle, which is not a common occurrence in the tournament so far. There's already a spy coming out from Zwerg, I guess that is. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit difficult to distinguish these players, but at least the teams will be easily distinguishable, I guess. Rules is also going for the middle takeover, although surprisingly they're not going for the mountain. I think both of them sort of aware that the mountain is there. It's very surprising, because you don't really need the space in the middle. There's plenty of space around, and it's quite nice space too. One thing for the players in the middle, there's not really close by water, so they'll have to go up north, I presume. There's a lake over there, but it's farther away. So it might like slow them down tiny little bit, and then in the future as well, because there's like the river is like quite thin, so they'll have to like chop down some of the trees to build more waterworks if they will ever need it. Let's see how it goes. For the teams, this game should be quite even, I would say. I'm obviously biased towards the rules in ZWQ, but you guys can in the chat say which one is your favorite in this matchup. Honestly, don't know. Maybe if rules in ZWQ will manage to like surprise them with some fast attack or like weed strat, then sure. But in these positions, I presume it's going to be very difficult. But let's see if they do something, try to pull something crazy. Just give me a sec, I'll put the teams on the screen so you can all see it. That's what I do start of every game. And here they are. Right, let's take a look at the bottom side of the map here. Quite a bit of mountain, but it's also there towards the middle. So I guess there should be a fight there. If the game goes longer, then I guess the team that will try to that will take control over this part, maybe even this part, like building a tower here, for example, by rules, would be quite advantageous. Feuerkelch just left. I hope it's just a temporary issue and he will come back immediately. His teammate is not pausing the game, so I presume they're okay. They're both obviously on Discord. And now a little bit of a giveaway. I can see the Pioneers by rules going down and top. So that gives me a I think that's a pretty small giveaway that there might be a longer play going on that they might not decide to push, and Zwerg pauses the game eventually. Hopefully it's not a big issue and he'll come back very, very soon. And yeah, when we were practicing, those sort of rules in Zablik, you were predicting that such bans may occur and then they will be forced to playing Romans. And yeah, and they also understand that the game might go longer in this setup. Okay, Feuerkelch is rejoining the game. Good. Shouldn't take long. It's only been 4 minutes in, so a few seconds, and then he should be back. And then we'll see what the builds are, but I presume they're pretty standard so far. The only strange thing is rules going towards the middle and trying to establish the control over the territory there. He's not going straight for the mountain, but maybe it's just the first step of his expansion, and then he'll go and take control over that mountain as well. And we're resuming the game. So this one is Zwerg, so let's go for the Feuerkelch first, because he's on the far outside of the map. He's already has 5 geologists. I think it's been an increasingly popular strat, if you can call it even a strat, of building quick geologists, and I actually like it, because I often struggle with finding good mountains early on, good mines early on, and it's important to use your starting food efficiently, and having those 5 geologists is really nice. And I think as a result you want to go for 3 small houses in order to compensate and have, so you can have an additional pioneers later on to capture the land as well as they uncover the mountain. You can even recruit some more geologists if you want. But as we can see, the spot is very good. There's everything that checks out. The mountain is fairly close. I mean, it's not the biggest mountain in the game, but I presume if it's good enough, it should support quite a sizable production. You have stone close by, you have water close by, and a nice shoreline, so you can build fishes. There's plenty of space, and there's also plenty of hills and stuff where you can build your wineries. I would say it's one of the better spots you can expect on random. And also the stones, they're not out in the opposite direction where you want to go. You want to go towards the water and stuff. So, and the stones are on the way, so it's sort of, you can build very concisely and have everything that you need. And yeah, as we can see, he goes for the 3 small residences. Yeah, I like it. And a quick farm. So yeah, that's probably not going to be any rush of any sort. Zwerg now, yeah, also goes for the 3 small houses. Surprisingly, he's not making the geologists. You can see he lost a little bit of space in the middle, but I think in the end they should take more or less the same amount of mountain. The only difference is his rules going for this tower. I'm sure Zwerg is aware, right, that there's mountain at the bottom. And if they don't plan to do anything crazy early on, he should be going there. I mean, not like expanding per se, but just like you can build a tower, leave it there, just so you have the space and you have the mountain. You don't really have to invest anything else for that. And he's also stealing something. I presume it's a hammer? Yeah, it is a hammer. Okay, but he dropped it, so I guess if he yeah, he hasn't pulled the builders on the 0% yet, so what you want to do is you want to grab the hammer and walk your spy or your thief in this case outside of your territory so it doesn't drop it. But this makes me think maybe there is some play going on, because usually you want to save the hammer where you go for like 3 weaponsmiths, and if it's going to be and you're not usually building 3 weaponsmiths before your toolsmith. You usually do that for some sort of push. Yeah, as I said, they will take roughly the same amount of mountain. in the north at least. See what's going on. The rules, we can see Zwerg is already spying him, so he's well aware of what's going on. He won't learn much at this point, but if the spies survive, it's good to have early intel. Yeah, they're pinging the mountain, so I guess they will eventually go there, at least build a tower, I mean. Let's take a look at the rules build. He's going for the three small residences and a medium one. I would say the medium one is a bit too early. And he has like idle settlers. He should turn them into pioneers or geologists, preferably. And maybe delay the medium one a little bit. And at least make the forester first. And even one of the wineries, I would say, it's good. Because then you have quick level 2. And only then you add the medium residence, so that's a bit of a, maybe not a misplay, but a small mistake. ZWQ, I know it's ZWQ, but it's just so annoying to pronounce it, so I'm just going with ZWQ, because he's very creative with that name, so let's see what he's doing. It's he's already shoveling the weaponsmith and iron smelter, but we'll see if he actually builds it, because he has 3 foresters, so that's tells me it's not going to be anything fast. Yeah, and adding already a 3rd sawmill seems to be like a very greedy build to start with. Although he's not adding the farm just yet, and he's also not adding more wineries, so we'll see how it goes. But usually when you add you have your 3 foresters and you add a 3rd sawmill, that usually means that you're not planning anything crazy early on, no pushes or anything like that. Yeah, and then Zwerg is not yet going for the mountain, though he's sending some pioneers, so perhaps he will make his way there. Rolls shoveling this tower here. Presume he will try to build one maybe here, because he's already sent his soldiers over there, publishing the land. He's only now making the geologists a little bit too late. These idle settlers, they could have been, well, anything else. Geologists, pioneers, you want to grab as much land as early as possible. He should also add maybe, because building the stone cutters like this is quite dangerous, because they will cut the stone fields quite fast around them, especially if they're that small, and you will have problems very quickly with stone. You have to rebuild them soon. So guys, give me your predictions in chat. Who do you think is favored in this one? Because as I said at the beginning, it's anybody's game at this point, and especially it looks like they're both teams, although yeah, as I said, maybe Zwerg wants to do some 3 weaponsmith pushes. So far no major mistakes, although there's a bit of deviation. Okay, so there will be no long play from the guys on the left side. I guess the farm was just a fake, because he's still leveling it and not building it. There's already weaponsmith on the way. Interesting. Okay, we'll see how this goes. As I said, we practiced this sort of setup quite a bit, and rushing from this setup is very difficult, I'd say, because it's not that difficult to scout, especially if the map is so open. You remember the game with Mikash and Blazing Star and Metro and Georgia, and in that game you could sort of try to maybe prevent spies from going in, because there was so much mountain and the terrain was very difficult to go through with the snow. But in this case it's just wide open, and we could see those green spy, presumably rules, that died right there, and he saw the weaponsmith. We'll see how they will react. They will add the weaponsmith of their own. They shouldn't panic just yet, because it doesn't mean much. It might as well be a fake. As you can see, Feuer is adding 2 more wineries. He might as well unlock the farm and build it just like normally, and he wouldn't be behind that much. A little bit, but not significantly. It's not a bad idea, to force your enemies on a bit of a defensive stance, and then abuse it and then to play greedier and get an advantage that way. We'll see how they play this out. We can see Zwerg is still not picking up that hammer. Although he has a few hammers left just yet. I guess he locked the... No, he has not locked this yet. So he's not building fast enough, I presume. And this is the idle geologist. You never want to see that early on. And he's also adding a 4th winery. Alright, so... tells me maybe some sort of convert push is also a possibility, because his mate is also adding 2 more wineries, and this farm is not being built. There's another spy going in, presumably rules. Let me check. Yep. No, it's ZWQs. Yeah, well, interesting. So he went all the way across the map. Nice commitment. And let's see what weapons are being made by Feuerkelch. It's bows. Okay, interesting. Sorry if you can hear the dogs barking outside. My neighbors have lots of dogs, unfortunately. Gotta love that. Okay, so he's making bows from that weaponsmith. I wonder, they're probably not aware as a WQ and the rules, they're not aware of that, but they should learn about it pretty soon, because they're actively spying. I mean, and they should be. The weaponsmith was relatively early, considering this is very far away from the middle, and should be considered a safe spot. Also, in this sort of map, you want to be careful with any surprise pushes, because just because you're safe, you think you're far away from the mirror, does not mean that that you won't die to any push from the enemy. Especially if you leave a tower or 2 relatively unprotected, they might just convert your stuff and take it. Okay, there's a bit of more scouting going on. I think they're a bit confused. I would be. I have the map open and I'm a little bit... I'm not really sure what's going on Zwerg and Feuerkelch side of the map. They have 3 going for 4, 4 wineries, and there's this big temple being leveled. It's probably not going to be built anytime soon. And he's only now adding the weaponsmith and iron smelter. They played for the 2, at least the Zwerg played for 2 foresters. Yes, same with Feuer. So it suggests that there might be some aggression going on. And just because he's making bows doesn't mean that the aggression won't happen. Because it's fine to attack, for example, with swords and bows, and maybe he will be the one making gold, because he took quite a good gold mine. Let's see if he can fit it almost perfectly, and he has pretty good mines in general. This iron mine is also pretty good, and he only now unlocked the farm. So, okay, so this may be just a defensive play, nothing crazy. Maybe they're afraid because the rules in ZWQ are known to be aggressive. Maybe they just thought it's better to play safe than be sword later on. And that's why he placed that weaponsmith so early. I mean, it's fine, he will have the barracks and the market quick enough to store those weapons. Yeah, and ZWQ is also checking. I guess they really... Still are not sure what's going on here. The farm is being built. I'm not really sure if he saw that. Yeah, he sees it with a spy. Okay. Let's see what ZWQ is doing. Okay, he's a bit behind on Feuer, I would say. Although he has 4 wineries, just fine working. Yeah, and as I said, the 3 sawmills. He really should take care of the expansion though. I would be expanding all over this place already. Especially considering how many idle settlers he has. And he leveled the 2nd weaponsmith already. I guess they were sort of afraid that some sort of push might happen because of the early weaponsmith from Feuer, but he's not building that yet. So I guess they realized that if there is a push, it won't be that soon. Fearles has his weaponsmith already done. And also leveling the farm. 4 so far, yeah, 4 wineries. In this sort of matchups, you wanna... It's sort of... I'm not really sure which one is better, if you wanna go for 4 wineries or 3, but it's often the case when... Obviously, when you go for 4 and your enemy goes for 3, then he will have the... He'll always be... Or like most of the time, he will be convert ahead. like when he hits 2 and 1 and 3 and so on. So the push, you always have to be very careful with the pushes that they can throw at you. You will have a slightly bigger army, maybe better economy, because you can build 2 farms instead of 1 when you go for 3 wineries. But you have to be very careful, especially with long border like this. Convert is not just 10 soldiers converted. It's 10 soldiers from your enemy, and it's also in particular location that the enemy might not expect. So that's very important to point out. We can see if Zwerg took this nice iron mine in the middle, and rules will only have this one. We'll see if it matters, because it looks like the top mountain is quite bad. There's a small iron mine going on here as well. And plenty of coal, but yeah, the iron seems to be scarce, so this mine in the middle might make a bit of difference, because these mines here are quite far. But we can see Rules will probably be the first one to take them. We'll see if he can hold it though, because the border is getting longer and longer, and the longer the border, the more places he can get attacked, especially with converts, as I said before. Looks like Zwerg is still leveling that big temple. Not building that yet. I mean, it will be too early unless he wants to speed up his wine production. Then you don't want the temple before minute 30, because only then you have a convert. Although when you're getting rushed, maybe the festering fear spell is good for the defensive, but other than that, you want to have it around 30-minute mark for the convert, obviously. Let's see how ZWQ is doing. He's only now adding the farm, so yeah, that's a bit later than Feuerkelch. So if Feuerkelch's idea was to, I don't know, throw off his enemy, then it looks like it worked a little bit, because he's finishing his second farm, while ZWQ does not have farm of his own at all. The only advantage that he has are these 3 Zomos, which might be actually quite significant later on. He's also nicely consolidated his country, so he's building everything very close, which is good on spots like this. You often might find yourself going in a situation like this, where there's no clear direction that you can go. You might be able to, I don't know, go in every direction for a little bit, and that's a mistake. You want to pick one and go there and expand it that way. And in this case, yeah, he chose to go north. But he also should expand, at least with pioneers, south, and maybe build, you want to clear your land first. So you build a stone cutter, wood cutter here, so you get rid of the single trees, so you have nice place to build. There's already another spy going on from Feuerkelch, and sending them across the map, so we can see this level of gameplay is already much higher than what a lot of the previous games in the tournament were, when there was not that much spying going on. They just want to know everything about themselves, and rightfully so. Because up until, I would say, 2 converts, like 50-minute mark, this matchup can end the game. If the game goes long, like after an hour, then it usually tends to be very long, because players are waiting for a lot of combat power. But if you are not too sharp with your build early on, for example, you forgot your large temple, you can get punished for it very, very easily. Zwerg is now building this farm. I think he has a bit of a settlers problem. Although no, not really. He just turned the pioneers back into settlers. But yeah, he's overflowing with the wine, so not a good timing on that small temple, unfortunately. Something he has to work on, I guess. And that market could have been sooner too. You don't need the barracks that much early on, but it's nice to have a market to anything really, to even send the stone in correct direction, so you have easier time building. I do it sometimes when the spot is large and have to go all the way. Rules making the bows, but he does not have the iron mine just yet. Even building it? Yeah, he is. But as I said, he found this too late. Zwerg already has the mine, so that's a could be a potential issue, because we have to understand that this iron smelter will not work for a very long time. Only when he builds that mine. Maybe put in a priority, or just make sure that they carry all the materials. There are only 2 planks going on, but yeah, this will slow him down immensely, and he's going for the 3rd sawmill. So I guess they just want to go for the longer play a little bit. But we can see Zwerg is already adding a 2nd weaponsmith. And we have to keep in mind that his ally was very fast with his 1st weaponsmith, and he has already 2 iron smelters. So I smell a little bit of a push in here. Let's see if he saved the hammer. He did not. Okay, so it will not be a 3 weaponsmith play. It will be just 2 weaponsmith play with the fast temple. Interesting. He does not have a 4th small temple. He's only now adding it now. I mean, I guess it's fine, because one of his wineries was a bit later. He's not overflowing with the wine at all. Just paying the space, I guess. Nothing too important. Yeah, but we can see, like, he's adding already a 2nd weaponsmith. ZWQ is not even starting to. He has the large temple, and he's now finishing the 2nd grain farm. So there's a little bit of an advantage of from Feuerkelch's side. It's all because he has only 2 sawmills. Early on, if you don't build the 2-3 sawmills, then you will be faster, slightly faster with everything basically. But the longer the game goes, you're and like the other guy will just have more planks, because really the planks are the limiting factors in here. Unless you forget about your stone cutters, then sure. You see the rules is recruiting, and the left team, Zwerg and Feuer, they're very well aware that he does not have iron at all. That he will not have it for at least a few more minutes. Dangerous time to be him, because when Feuer moves all his soldiers, and I would love to see, yeah, some swords, this could turn ugly very, very soon. And we can see rules adding another winery. That's a 5th one. Ambitious play, considering he does not even have 1 weaponsmith working. He also overflowing with the coal. Not a good situation to be in, if I were him, to be honest. Although, yeah, let's see what Zwerg is doing, because his build is quite peculiar. Yeah, he's only has 2 small temples still. We remember he had this problem with overflowing wine. He's now adding 2 more just now. So that's a bit later, because we can see rules already has 4. So the convert timing will be on rules' favor in this case. He's not even, he's only now unlocking the large temple, and he's shoveling 2nd weaponsmith, and we can see his weaponsmith is working all the time, because he built this mine very, very early on. And it's not a bad mine, it's 60%. I presume he will unlock another one very soon. Okay, Rules is finishing the big temple. Will be finishing it soon. I mean, it should finish right on time, around 31-minute mark. That's where you will have a first convert. But as we said before, he should not really be worried about it, because Zwerg is very late with his small temples in this case. There's a bit of push going on. There's nothing too serious, maybe some distraction play. I mean, Rules should be careful, because this weaponsmith ain't working, bro. And the enemies, they're recruiting quite a lot of soldiers. Unfortunately, Zwerg will not have level 2 for the swords anytime soon, because he's quite slow. I mean, not soon enough, so he recruited level 1s. Let's see if they try to push at this point. Because that's soon they will have a timing on. Because only now the weaponsmith rules is starting to work out. And ZWQ is sending reinforcements, although not that much, because he only has the 1 weaponsmith currently working. So let's see if Team Pink will use it, although I'm afraid they will wait for the priest. And they might just lose that window, because Rules don't have a priest just yet. And we can see Rules has more or less taken control of this small mountain in the middle. Well, let's see if this plays if it will be any important, because he might just lose this. Just because you've taken the land doesn't mean you will hold it in the long run and build anything there. I guess Rolls is recruiting some Fearles, presumably for defense. Fearles aren't really that good at attacking, especially at 37 combat power. Let's take a look at Feuerkelch. He did not build the gold mine I was pointing. He instead went to build the grain mill, bakery, and the pig farm, which is the first food production buildings. So he will be commencing with a pretty standard build, I would say. He's adding a toolsmith. He should be thinking about adding a third sawmill. I think because he's adding the forest just now. Maybe expand a little bit. Cut the... Does the tower? Yeah, it is a tower. It's quite smart, maybe, to build the tower here, because they presumably you want to have your army here, right? So if you hide your tower back here, even if it's a large tower, it can get sniped. But if it's here, then it's less likely, I would say. You're just close by with your soldiers. It looks like they both will add a third sawmill. Yeah, it looks like Zwerg is also adding a third forester. It's just another sawmill, and I guess they don't really look for the push, surprisingly. So now Zwerg has the priest, yeah, but he's very far away from the convert, simply because, yeah, this one small temple is still not working. Well, let's check the rules. Yeah, he is quite close. I would say a minute, maybe a minute and a half. This tower empty. He should probably send some soldiers in it. Zwerg might as well force him to crush it. Hopefully not though. Yeah, there's the third sawmill. Yeah, so that's a bit unlucky for the team left. They had a bit of an opening. I was hoping maybe they'll use it, do some damage, but it's slowly but surely closing in. Although the towers are still empty. Not really that much coverage there. And ZWQ opted to build a large tower instead, close to his barracks. That's a safe option. His food production is slightly later, slightly slower, but he has 3 farms. Whereas Feuer has 2, only now finishing a third, but he's already making bread. Slight difference. I would say it won't mean much in a few minutes. It will all just get evened out. And now ZWQ is gaining a bit of an advantage because he has the extra planks from his sawmills, and I guess he should build another coal mine. He's running low on this. Let's see if they're making gold at all. Doesn't look like it. And yeah, rules overflowing with the... Oops, a bit of a lag for me there. He's overflowing with his sawmills. He has 3 of them, so that was not a smart choice to build them. Or you should store it on the market, always a good thing to do. If you're overflowing with anything, really. Especially the mines and the materials, because you will eventually will use it. I guess he blocked that 5th winery, quite interesting. And he's still not sending anything into those towers. Maybe on purpose, because if you place something in the tower, then you have to defend it, and at this point you can just crush it at any point in time. Not worry about it that much, although when Zwerg will build a tower of his own, he will have to guard that tower and place soldiers in it. There's a small skirmish going on up in the north. I don't think anything will turn out from it, simply because there's just not enough soldiers, not enough combat power. There is not even a priest going there. They don't really want to force any aggression. I wonder how those teams feel on the long play. We had the yesterday or 2 days ago, we played the practice games with rules, and ZWQ went for the long play. Same also with Romans and The game was very long, almost 2 hours long, and they played well, so I don't think Zwerg and Feuerkelch should be too confident, because even though I think Rules is known for being aggressive, he can also play longer games as well, presumably, but providing he does not lack settlers all game. We'll see about that, because on this spot it might as well be the case. Yeah, as I said, the waters are quite far away, and there's this lake on the bottom. He does not opt to go there at all. And now, worth pointing out that there's there's not that much mountain. So this mountain right here might play a bigger role, because as we can see, there's at least I would say 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, maybe even more iron mines, very crucial. And there's nice coal as well. And Zwerg up here, he only took this one extra iron, and this won't matter that as much as the mountain on the bottom. So the team on the left will soon, if they opt not to attack, they will soon start to feel pressure to attack and to do some sort of damage, or maybe like retake this land in the middle, retake this mountain. You can see now Zwerg is running of an issue because he forgot, I guess, about the water. He has the production already up, and like he built the pig farm and whatnot, but he does not have waterworks just yet. And like this river is very far, so it will take him quite a bit of time to build that. And that's interesting shovel right here. I wonder why is it for? Build the faster? Maybe he just missed it. I'm not really sure what this shovel is doing there. Now let's take a look at Feuerkelch. He's slowed down a little bit because he's sending all of his coal into the iron smelter. You want to fix those numbers. Just send a bit more coal to the weaponsmith, and that should solve the issue. He added a third farm, not too bad, although this farm is slightly bad. And I think he should be looking to add another sawmill. Yeah, he is. Yeah, right here. Okay, interesting spot. Yes, it's just a matter of preference. And this mountain, it's relatively good, I would say. You have 3, 4, maybe there's more iron, maybe a little bit worse. Yeah, 5 iron mines, not too bad. You can run quite nice production in here. Yeah, Rules is also low on water, but he already built the waterworks. In this case, I think what a good idea would be, just build a small house in here, and you can use the feature to rally settlers to that house, and that way, like, the transportation of water will be smoother, way smoother, I would say, or you can manually send them to. Not too big of an issue. I'd say now a lot of players in this point in time, they're stacking on wood, and this comes from the fact that your shovelers are standing, and when they're standing they're not working, and that way you're not really using the wood, because considering you have 15 shovelers early on, like from the start of the game, and you have 3 sawmills. As Romans, you want to build constantly, and you have to build close by, otherwise they will just not keep up with your wood production. And you also have to be worried about stones. I guess Rules is ambitious, building another tower there, putting even more pressure on Zwerg. And this, as you can see, this board is getting longer and longer. You can see like Zwerg has 1, 2, 3, 4 towers, 5 towers to defend. There's this one, but it's double. Whereas Rules has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's going to be 7 towers to defend. That's going to be a bit of pain in the ass. We'll see how this goes. This might bite him in the nut, unless he just goes back and forfeits the towers when he sees that the enemy has a bigger force. We'll see how it goes. Okay, Zwerg is now building the second waterworks. He's gonna need them because they're just the distance, and they're not really that great. You can see the entrance is right here, and the river is up north. It will take a lot of time to get there. And this tower, I like it. It could be big too. It's relatively safe, and even if you have some army there, it's still very close to the front line. There's plenty of coal in here. Also a bit of gold. Maybe they try to go for early gold. Not too sure. It's always risky in this situations to go for early gold, because I feel like you're forfeiting quite a bit of an army. And once you go, like when you go for gold, yes, you can, like you have better chance of attacking, but that means the enemy has more soldiers. So it's kind of a tough situation to sort of deal with. You want to have a numbers advantage when you attack, but you also need gold. And I feel like if the teams are even, like they are right now, it's very difficult to accomplish. You can see ZWQ adding another weaponsmith. That'll be the fourth one. These three are not really working that great, but I guess that will change soon. He has four fishes. Not the best placement, I would say. You don't want to have four in the same place, simply because the fish on random, they get depleted quite easily. And even if the vein is good early on, it will lose potential eventually. So you want to spread them as much as you can, especially at the beginning, in order to cover more ground and have them work for longer. He's adding now. Is this the first pig farm? Or am I blind? No, it's the second one. Thank God. I guess he's waiting for level 3 on the bowman. As Rules is recruiting it all the time. I guess he sees those swords. They're quite dangerous. And Zwerg is opting for level 3 on the spears. He has banked them quite a bit already, 15. And his two weaponsmiths are more or less working, although this bottom one will probably have a pause pretty soon. Yeah, the 50 iron is acceptable. It's fine. He will be a bit later with the food, just slightly there, because his water only now being transported, and he's adding another waterworks and another fisher. I guess 2 fishes, because he doesn't have one yet. I wonder what these pioneers are doing. Oh, I know what they're doing. He wants to cut his water down, but the Rules is aware, and he will not let that happen. There's this cheeky spy standing here. It's very annoying. It's a nice move if it worked, but it won't work this time, unfortunately for him. Zwerg starting to establish the control over the mountain, and he will try to take this tower. Let's see if Rules fights for it, because you would have to maybe use a convert, although I'm not sure. Oh, probably not. Assuming he will be fast enough with the soldiers. Let's see if he casts the spell. No, he cast the weakening spell, but that's okay. This keeps the Zwerg still going for this tower, so presumably this tower will fall. They're they really don't want to use the convert. This might cost them the tower. It's actually very close. There's a priest going on from the left hand side as well, and the tower falls. And I guess they have to forfeit that unless they want to spend more mana. I guess they spotted the priest going from this direction. So this allowed Zwerg to have a bit of a breathing room in here. He will have this mountain for himself at least, but this mountain is still in the hands of Rules, who built already a mine here. Yeah, maybe I overestimated how good the irons are here. They're not really that great. Doesn't seem like it. The Rules should really go back. He's wasting soldiers here. No point in doing that. Yeah, so neither team decided to pull the trigger there on the converts. I'm not really sure what I think about this. I guess they would just exchange converts and that's it. The tower would have still probably fallen. Although, yeah, Zwerg should have the convert, right? I mean, it's 41-minute mark. This is Feuerkelch's priest. This is... yeah, he does. They're about to have the second one, I guess. Rules also fairly close. So I wonder what happened. Because Zwerg was a bit behind. Maybe he added the 5th one? No. Okay, so guys, Rules is just slightly ahead in terms of mana. But he should have the 2nd convert first. And these mountains, I feel like they're slightly better than this one in the middle. Although this iron should be quite nice. And unfortunately we're going into large towers now. So this makes me think that the game might go actually for quite the distance at this point. Let's see if they decide to do any level 3 pushes. Because as I said, the Zwerg is doing the level 3 spears. Although his weaponsmith got full with weapons, right? Yeah, it's not working because it's full. Bit of a misplay right here. And he's a bit low on settlers. Yeah, so he won't be able to recruit the weapons that soon. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, he has the level 3, but he doesn't have settlers to recruit it. Without the gold, making spears, it's more for defense, I guess. You can't do much. Unless you have a way bigger number than your enemy, you won't be able to push them away and then take any meaningful towers are here. And as we can see, neither team is even thinking about making gold. Yeah, not the outer players and not the inner players. The outer players have pretty nice gold mines, and also I presume those are very nice coal as well. So maybe they should invest into that if they want to ever push. If not, then the game will go quite some time. Feuer finally managed to finish his 3rd sawmill. Has currently how many farms? 6 farms, not too bad. 3 working weaponsmiths and 1 not working, although there's plenty of iron here, so should start working soon. And he's looking pretty good, I'd say. 6 farms, 3 bakeries, and a pig farm. He's also working with 4 small temples, so no deviation there. Rolls, I guess let's go to Zwerg currently. Zwerg has only 3 farms and a pig farm. And 3 bakeries. I guess there's too many bakeries, but that's just fine. He's struggling a little bit with the settlers and the stone. Although he has the stone cutters, just no tools in them yet. I guess he should crush those. That have the stone already cut around their working area. Yeah, Rules is also struggling with the wood, overflowing are crazy. And that's what I said sort of before about building in zones and whatnot. He's sort of trying to do it, I feel like, but not good enough. Or maybe he's just building too slow. And he's just overflowing lots of material. And I think he will be low on stone as well. So, I mean, he will be in a similar situation to Zwerg if he ever decides to pull the trigger on those buildings. Yeah, he's lacking stone, and that's no surprise. Like these 2 stone cutters, they're almost not working. There's just 1 single stone left there. This one is fine. These 2 are relatively okay. This one is very new, so this doesn't really give him much just yet. And he should invest in more, because if you have 3 sawmills, you want to have 5, even 6 stone cutters working at full efficiency at all times in order to you know, use the planks that you're producing. Now let's see the WQ comparison. Also 7 farms, similar to Zwerg. 1 more, but I guess Zwerg already, Feuerkelch, but Feuer probably already built the 7th one as well. Has also 4 weaponsmiths. The 3 are working, 1 isn't. Also not going for the gold. Pretty even, I would say, in this case. Also going for full temples, although they're not really working. I guess the wineries are not really that efficient. This one could have been definitely better. Yeah, he has 4 of them. Yeah, but I guess just not efficient enough. Oh no, he doesn't have settlers, probably too. Yep. I guess he did a good job of building in this small area. But now when he transferred his builders and everything in here, he's struggling with settlers, and no surprise there. He's building 4 medium houses at this point, and he needs those settlers like desperately. The larger your country is, the more settlers you need, and the longer the distances become between buildings. So everything just takes simply longer to carry through. He's even building a tower to capture the mountains he has here. And we can see that Feuer has managed to capture all of the mountains already has, and he probably should store some of the ore on the market. There was a bit of going on, but not much damage being done. I mean, no surprise there. If he crashed those waterworks, that could be a small issue for rules, but not too big in the long run, I would say. And we have a silent night going on, and this game will go on for quite a bit, I feel like. Especially considering neither team is making gold. I wonder how good this mountain is. Plenty of coal and iron. Not too bad. Not too bad for such a small mountains. I wonder if this is Feuer's last tower, or no, he has 3. So he has these 2 fairly safe, and this one very safe. And Feuer also struggling with settlers, and no surprise there. He left his initial area of building into expanding into a new one, and they need more settlers at this point, and he does not have that. Although he's finishing 2 of his houses, and he has still some pioneers left, so that should turn out into settlers pretty soon. Should be enough. There was some heavenly presence casted, nice loot, 2 scythe, and then plenty of gold. Nice. I guess not enough gold to do any damage to attack, but still better than nothing, I'd say. Oh, there was a bit of the rules lost the tower. I guess I missed that, but didn't lose much. I guess he doesn't even care about taking it back. Yeah, I agree, man. He's a little bit afraid of maybe losing mountain, but I don't think he should be. I don't think he should even considering building that tower. Because if you have the tower here, it's not the target for the enemy. It can be easily sniped if you're not paying attention. Now we can see the front line is rather large. Also a good thing there is no mountain in the middle, like indirectly in the mirror. That means attacking won't be that difficult. We all know when there's so much mountains in the middle, you can build mines and you can block the enemy. It's just pain in the ass to push. Bit of towering going on by Zwerg. I wonder if Rolls sees it. I also wonder if this mine is protected by this tower or this one. Doesn't look like it. I think it's just barely not. And if Zwerg builds those towers, he'll lose it. And then I guess in terms of mine, like mountain in the middle, it will be pretty even if Rolls loses this one. Because other than that, all of the mines are pretty mediocre. I'd say the mines right here are just way better. This looks like a juicy iron. There's a bit of pioneer action going. I wonder what that's for. I wonder if he has some spies over here too. I presume that's rolls here. There's no spies, so these geologists will spot it, presumably. I mean, it's a good thing that he's sending it sort of blind. I wonder what for. Maybe to just do a Senpai attack, or maybe for the potential gold steal. That could be too. Okay, level 3 going. Nice production by Feuer. Four weaponsmiths, 5 actually, but these 2 are not really working 100% of the time. I guess that's because they're quite farther away from the coal mines than these 2. And that's why they just suck all the coal into them. I would say I like Feuer game so far the most. Although they're pretty even, but I would say his country looks like the smoothest, I would say. Although yeah, ZWQ has also managed to recover from his settlers problem, so I would say they're more or less dead even. Like, ZWQ has fewer weaponsmiths, but I would say overall that they're more or less even. Let's compare the armies, and maybe that's a good time. It's a 53-minute mark. ZWQ has 120 almost. Foyer 135. 15 soldiers difference. I mean, it's okay. You're not really... This doesn't make that much difference, but there's no gold in play. Rules only 85. Zwerg 91. Also slight advantage for the pink team, but nothing too devastating, I'd say for now. Yeah, neither team going for the gold. Kind of pisses me off, because this could be a... I mean, before the armies get so large that you can cover sort of the whole front, before that happens, you might be able to do some pushes with converts, you know, to surprise your enemies, especially if, I don't know, there's like plenty of trees. Sometimes it's difficult to assess how big the army is, and if the enemy is just slipping on it, not really paying attention, that you might be able to do some damage, especially considering the rule does not have a watchtower in this place. Yeah, he does not really see what's going on here. He may have some spies, but they not really... He doesn't even have spies, so yeah. He doesn't really know how much army is here, and you might just do a surprise attack. Although these two large towers, I guess he's safe, even if there was a big attack coming. There was 3 weapon production so far. I mean, weaponsmiths build. Only 1 seems to be working. Oh no, there's 1 as well, so 2. What about Zwerg? Also 3 and also 1. I guess this one is freshly built, so I guess only 1 working right now. Yeah, but they're pretty even, because Zwerg has a bit of a soldier's advantage. Although yeah, now he's in a similar position. Rules was some time ago, no settlers. And he should really stop recruiting at this point. This thing often happens when they get stuck like this. What you want to do is you want to lower the number of builders to like 2 or 3. It depends which one came to the building first, and they will sort of fix themselves. They will unstuck and they will continue building. And you want to do it because if they finish building and there's something else going on, they'll just walk away. Luckily 1 stayed. I was actually very lucky for him, because they would walk away and he would have no settlers whatsoever. And you want to stop their recruiting at this point. You don't want the number of free settlers to go to 0, because if it's 0, that means there is some resource that it's not being carried in your country. And this guy will have to finish all of the work of his own, on his own, because his buddies just left. They don't give a fuck. Yeah, I wonder if ZWQ will build the tower close to rules. Not really. He's relying on this large tower and probably will leave 1 more small one somewhere, although not currently. Let's see if they're spying still, because having the spies at this point would be interesting. There should be a spy from... Not from Zwerg, but from Feuer maybe? No, that's a bit of an issue. I'd say you want to know at all times like what your enemies are doing. They run low on settlers and whatnot. And you can use that. I wonder what happens to those pioneers from rules. Probably died, right? Yeah, there's used to be settlers right here. Okay, we have a toilet break. Interesting. Not really sure if that's necessary. He could just went, be right back, build some buildings and just let us continue. Yeah, but as I said at the beginning, if the game doesn't resolve itself early on with some early push, then we might be here for a while, especially because they don't really care. They don't really care for making gold. Yeah, I'd also like to go for the join the other game, but I think that might not be possible if this one will take as long. There's big towers going on. Wolves already has 2. Adding a 3rd one. There's no gold in sight. I guess they're just thinking about not dying at this point. There's a bit of gold going on. There's gold mine. No pickaxe though. Shame, and I think there's just not enough coal currently to produce gold by the WQ, but he has the right idea. Adding another weaponsmith. Plenty of food currently. 8 farms, whereas Feuer has been already slightly ahead. All game, I feel like. WQ building more houses. As we can see, he's no longer building in this area. He went down here and he cramming all the buildings in one space. That's a very good tactic, I would say. You want to do that in order to minimize the walking distance for your builders and shovelers. What you should also do is maybe put some settlers on this house so that they rallying here and they have closer route to the planks and stones and all that jazz. They can pick it up and carry it to the building sites. Just a little bit more efficient solution. You can also move them manually by making pioneers. Let's see if there's any gold going on from the left team, pink one. Not from Zwerg. What about Feuerkelch? I guess he's not even thinking about it. Oh, he built 2 gold mines, but they're paused, so I guess he won't be making any gold anytime soon. And those pioneers from Fearles died. I'm not really sure what their mission was, but it was not accomplished, I think so. Yeah, and at this point I think we passed the time where you can snipe a tower, especially here in the middle. I would say these guys back here are sort of well protected, although these towers could be a target. But yeah, Feuer is rallying to them. That's a smart... right? I'm not really sure, it doesn't show. But yeah, he's rallying to them, which is a good idea. He probably has a priest somewhere in here as well. So he's pretty safe from any ship attack and whatnot. And now we're sort of entering the stage of the game where what you want to do is you want to add farms, and make sure you keep up with the residences and building houses and being like building settlers production is very, very important. Because if you run out of settlers at this point, like this whole machinery just freezes for a minute or two, and that could be a big blow, I would say, to your soldiers count. You can see Feuer is making a little bit of a... yeah, he's making half on half spears and bows. I guess that's purely defensive because they don't really have gold. Not really planning on making gold to push. And Zwerg is also heavily invested into spears. Yeah, he's making almost exclusively spears. Not really sure how I feel about that. Maybe that's a bit too many. But I mean, I guess so. The rule for drawing, there's a 3-hour, if the game is longer, it goes for 3 hours or longer, then we just leave and whoever has more score, which team has more score, wins. It's pretty simple. I'm not really sure what happens if there is a draw in the score, but I guess it's very unlikely. Yeah, I wonder what happens when they run out of mountain. I mean, it's not going to happen anytime soon, because there's still plenty of mines to build. But what then? Will they try to, I don't know, maybe build some catapults and whatnot? Try to chip at least a little bit of mountain from the enemy. Although, yeah, at least, yeah, Rules lost this mine. So they're more or less even, Zwerg and Rules, that is. Except the Rules lost this mine, I'm not really sure. I mean, 62% mine, considering others are pretty terrible. That might be important. No, I won't be hopping over the game, I don't think so. I mean, that wouldn't make much sense, right? And I can't really stream both. So I guess you're stuck with me in this one, unfortunately. There's a bit of gold production going on by ZWQ, not really sure. He's building the smelter yet? Yeah, 2 smelters. You should probably store the gold ore. And get ready to ramp up the gold production. I'm wondering if they will wait for the level, like, for 100 and something combat power. It'd be difficult to accomplish considering how scarce the mountains are on this map. Or if they will become aggressive earlier on when they hit another spike. Let's compare the armies again. Standard stuff, Zwerg approaching 200, Feuer 233. Slight advantage there. I mean, it's growing larger, I would say. Last time we checked it, it was 15 only. Zwerg 115, when the Rules is 130. So so I guess Rules managed to caught up and even overcome Zwerg in terms of army numbers. That means that the teams are more or less even. The only exception is that ZWK will start making gold sooner, providing he has settlers, which he's lacking right now. Again, you want to stop that production and to make sure that everything is being carried in the country. Feuer building in this little corner. I guess he won't build any more in here. He's just adding another bakery and he will finish those houses. And he's coming back with his shovelers on the right hand side of the country, probably because of those stones and mostly the mountain, which he's taking right here. It's also interesting how they split the mountain. I guess Zwerg took like half of this bottom one. That will be, if Rules takes up here, that they will split evenly. If Rules gives up more of this mountain to ZWQ, then they will have more. I'm not really sure if it makes any difference in the long run. Probably doesn't, but there's nice juicy gold. Please build it, guys. We need this to win the game, to attack. Rules smartly enough. There's a spy going on. Interesting. Spying at this point in time. Yeah, but you want to have spies at this point in time as well. Because like it's difficult. I feel like from experience, it's difficult to assess how big an army is when it's just standing here, because it can be more grouped together. It can be, you know, like scattered around the border. It might look bigger or smaller than it actually is. We played the other day. We played the practice game, and one team had like 200 soldiers more, and they saw everything on the watchtowers, and they just did not realize that they have more. And I often, like when I watch my own replays, I see that. Maybe not if maybe when the difference isn't that big, but when the enemy has 100 more or less, I'm not really. It's difficult to notice. I'm now starting to regret that I'm casting this on my own. This is going to be a long one. I might go silent for a little bit if there's not much to say. I guess they've entered a phase where they've managed to handle the settlers issues. Because although Feuerkelch is still lacking settlers at this point. And they're just adding farms, adding mines, there's not much to it. I feel like it's very, at this point it's quite difficult to make an advantage for yourself if you were even up to this point. Zwerg is adding another toolsmith. Interesting choice, considering how small the mountains are and how late it is. I'm not sure if I like it. I mean, I know it's a bit of a stretch, but every tool could be a weapon. Every weapon, you know, is a soldier. You don't want to make too many tools, shovels and whatnot, especially if the mountains are so small. I mean, realistically speaking, he will add a few more iron mines. These are very good. You should build them ASAP. Yeah, rules went for them already. So, I mean, he will maybe add a few more farms. Zwerg, that is. Yeah, I would say like maybe 4 more max. And then you're out. Like, there's not much you can build other than mana, maybe. So adding toolsmith at this point, it's too late. And Zwerg is all heavily invested in those spears, still making spears. Yeah, I want to use all the mountain. What you want to do is you want to build wineries first, and then add, you know, foresters and whatnot, and make a charcoal production. And that's basically it. There's not much else you can do. And then pray to find an opening and maybe try to attack there. Although, yeah, we can see Rule smart. That's very smart, I would say. He positioned the large towers in the straight line, more or less. That means he can afford to lose this chunk of territory because there's nothing left really, and he can just defend in this sort of area. He will have to crush the buildings in order to get favorable concave, but yeah, but it should be fine. Alright guys, I'm gonna go for a small be right back. Hopefully nothing crazy happens. Be right back. I've returned. All and safe. I hope nothing happened, nothing major. Yeah, I guess not much happened. Let's see how the productions is going. No, it's Feuerkelch. Still lacking settlers. No, he managed to recover. More or less though, only 23. Not enough, but his production is quite nice. He managed to supply most of his mines with food, and the weaponsmiths are working just fine. He's still not building the gold, quite unlucky. Then Zwerg has placed one gold mine, but too far away from having any meaningful impact on the gold production. And ZWQ has already 2 gold smelters. There's one right here and another here, but they're not really working just yet because, surprise surprise, he does not have settlers. Common theme, recurring theme going on. I would say this is about the time you want to invest maybe in large residences at this point, and that will help you obviously not only build large ones, because then you will not have settlers for 10 minutes, but like maybe like 4 or 5 small ones and the medium ones, and then add a big one. It will help you to spend the resources and to not run into the settlers problem for quite some time. There's a spying going on a little bit. I guess they're poking around, they want to see. Rules adding more spears to the mix. Smart, yeah, because if the Zwerg is producing almost exclusively spears, and this after the patch, they changed how the spears fight. I mean, they really not really changed it, but they sort of made it easier to micro the spears. They always fight in 2 rows right now. They're quite powerful even in large numbers, because before spears they were kind of useless when the armies got very large. What you wanted to do is you want to send in bows, and when the army is thinned out, then you want to send in spears and push back enemy forces. Right now I feel like you are fine with making more spears into the mix, even up to 60%, and they're very effective even in large numbers. And especially here, I would say, when the terrain is okay to fight with. Starting to clear out this mountain, taking all of it. You can see the purple team has already built a lot of mines in here. Whereas rules, there's mostly rules on this side, and ZWK is only now starting to capture it. So far, he's been only using only this one on the right hand side. Let's compare the armies again. Let's see if anything changed. Rules on 200. Zwerg on 206, so they evened out. Feuer on 370. Yeah, so there's a bit of an advantage on Feuerkelch's side. 30 soldiers more, I would say inconsequential at this point. Rose is working with 7 weaponsmiths so far. He's adding 2 more. I think soon he will get capped by the mountain. There's a few more iron mines, but not too many. And coal might be an issue too if they desire to produce gold. Enough gold to push at least. 7 weaponsmiths on the Rolls side, 6 on Zwerg. More or less even. Same with Feuerkelch 10 and Zwerg also 10. So very even. Zwerg struggling with settlers. There's a recurring theme in here, and this one it looks to be quite a big one issue. He's building 10 small, so 10 medium residences, 1 big. It's only 1. This one is close to finishing. But there's so many weapons, yeah, almost 60 weapons lying around, and they will soon overflow in the weaponsmiths, and they will stop working. Not never something you want. I guess this one is finishing as well, and this one finished just now, so he should not be too bad of a situation. But this is something definitely to keep an eye on. In such a long game, so you want to make sure you have settlers at all time. This is sort of the only thing that will slow you down, unless you stop building completely. But there's a bit of another issue where you run out of settlers and it goes to 0 and you have no carries whatsoever. The temples are getting him. They're not really, producing mana for you, and that might allow your enemies to sort of gain a convert advantage, and then like maybe 1 convert more, or just a slightly mana advantage. You see, Zwerg has I guess it's Zwerg, yeah. Zwerg has 3 converts, almost 4. Whereas Rolls, if I find his priest, he has 4 already and going into 5th. So there's a bit of a gap because Rolls added he has 7 small temples, whereas Zwerg only has 4 still. Feuerkelch 4 as well, and ZWQ 4 as well. So Rolls is already investing in those temples, and that might be important. Having a convert advantage, maybe not when the armies are so big, but you have to understand that when you attack, the armies eventually thin out. If the armies are even, obviously, then you'll soon thin out the enemy's army, and the convert will make a huge difference, especially, as I said before, considering the front is such a long line, you cannot really stack all your soldiers at one place, so the armies fighting each other in different places here will be relatively small, or at least not as big as if they were, for example, stacked in like one place in the middle of the map. You can see Rules is heavily securing this side of the map, and rightfully so. I mean, losing this mountain would be devastating. Now Zwerg is still struggling to settle us, and boy, it really hurts my eyes. And that's another problem It's happening because he's building it like the whole country at once. Look at that. He's placing the buildings up north, whereas there's something going on in the middle, building residences and whatnot. There's a house down here, waterworks. There's so many buildings from bottom here. Even if he has additional builders, which he doesn't have that many, it's still something you don't want to do. You want to build like everything, as many buildings as you can in one space, and then move your builders to another. There is a ship going on. Interesting. I didn't even see it being built. It's probably was built by ZWQ. Right? Or am I just going blind at this point? Yeah, I'm quite confused. Maybe he just crushed the harbor, which I mean, understandable if you want to hide it, and then fine. But there's a ship going on. Not really sure if he will be able to accomplish anything. Yeah, I mean, but it's a WQ and rules. They're known for their ship play, and I guess he can cast some converts, but I'm not really sure if he can capture these towers, especially considering there is a priest going on and here. I guess they're still waiting for additional combat power, and I presume we might see some action because they should probably attack in the middle, you know, to simply distract the enemies from looking at these towers right here. And I hope they know the tower, right? I mean, you want to... There's no spies in here, at least I don't see them. But I presume they know more or less where the towers are. There's also worth pointing out there's no gold in here, so there's nothing they can capture. Albeit they don't even have spears, I mean pioneers in there, so no worries there. We can see Zwerg is sending coal over to Feuerkelch, which is quite surprising, right? Because he's the one making gold for the team, at least he's starting to. Feuerkelch, okay, Feuerkelch also adding the gold mines, so I guess they will be on that pretty soon as well. ZWQ already produced some gold, and Rules is also making gold. Well, it's not such a big numbers so far. Wonder where he's sending it, because this is covered by the tower. Maybe right here should be fine as well. Is the ship moving? Yeah, it is. Okay, he's unloading, but I don't really see there could be any damage done. Yeah, as I said, they're faking an attack on this side of the map. As we can see, he does not really have any combat power, and now they left the ship, but there's an awkward moment because there is a priest there, and we saw Feuerkelch moving his army, but he did not see the ship, he did not see the soldiers, but there's just so much army here. You'd have to, I don't know, convert everything. There's like 70 soldiers, so even if he uses all the converts, there's just not enough. This is not going to work. And this attack, I presume that's a fake, because he does not have gold. Taken. Yeah, they're just going back. Not much going on. They did not use any mana. I believe the priest probably died, and they just have to go back. I mean, there's just no way you can do anything at this point with so many soldiers in here. ZWQ has a similar idea. He just keeps soldiers at home because they know even if there will be a push going on, that they will breach one of the sides of the front. They can still reinforcement time, I guess. Some units got lost. Taxpayers victims in this conflict. Let's compare the armies, because something might have changed. Zwerg almost 400 rolls, 350, so 50 less. I guess fewer. Feuerkelch 600, ZWQ 570. So there's overall the pink team has 80 more soldiers, but they have no gold whatsoever, which means they cannot capitalize on that advantage at all. And considering how well defended this whole place is, I don't really see an opening for them before they make any meaningful gold in order to push. And we have to keep in mind that Fearles has invested very soon, I mean relatively early compared to other players, in additional small temples and mana production, so he will have more defensive spells. And we can, as we know, Roman, the Festering Fear spell that halves the enemy soldiers' attack for quite some time, is very powerful in defense. And it's also worth remembering that it only works on your land, it doesn't work on enemy land, and it does not work on the land of your enemies. I'm talking about this one. Festering Fear. A very strong defensive spell, because it forces either your enemy has to fight with half of the combat power, or they have to pull back, which, if the front is big, it's not really something you want to do and mess up your concave. I mean, I'm 10 minutes behind. I mean, you guys 10 minutes behind. I'm seeing the petition from Nogger, but at this point there might be a fight going on, so I'm not really sure if it's worth switching at this point. I mean, it would be best if the other guys could wait, but I understand if they can't, because it will just get too late for them. And there's a pause too. Great. I'll be shortly back. Okay, I'm back and the game is resumed. To go, worth pointing out, we're halfway through the allowed game time. If the game goes beyond 3 hours, it ends, and the winner is decided by the number of points in the final statistics. Keep going home. Not accomplishing much really. Okay, I guess we're back to building. There's a bit of gold. Let's see how much gold they have. 75%, so they a little bit more for the first meaningful level, I guess, but I'm not really sure if they will attack there. They probably will wait till like 105 or 7. They're overflowing with resources, surprisingly. They're also not building the weaponsmiths fast enough. They made quite a bit of quite a lot of food. At this point, counting the farms doesn't really much make sense. I guess they all should have pretty even number, yeah. And I mean, going beyond 15 doesn't really make sense. Especially considering how small the mountains are. I wouldn't even go for 15 at this point. ZWQ is taking the gold back. I wonder if that's a sign for the push. Maybe they just detected that this piece of land is sort of weakly protected. Let's see, Zwerg is still lacking settlers. Not really, but I mean, it's close. And he's no longer really, he's not really sending coal anymore, and he's adding the fishes quite late, I would say. Surprisingly, he did not add them at the bottom at all. There's a small lake here. You can see the Zwerg made a gold smelter, but it's not sending out the gold on the market. Maybe he just broke it. No, he just really forgot to do it. Unlucky. As for the Feuerkelch, he is sending the gold on the market. Gold and gold ore, the latter being less meaningful. He has plenty of food overflowing with bread. He should, at this point, what you should do, if the game drags for so long and you've sort of placed all of the good mines that you can, search the mountains again, like send like 20 geologists. Search the mountain again and build every mine that you possibly can. For example, this one here, I mean, wouldn't be too bad, I would say. This one here, also. You build everything, because that's, and then add more food later on if you don't have enough. Or fish, too. You want to explore all of the mountains that you possibly can. It's better to do that than to stand and do nothing. Zwerg, still no settlers. He just finished this big house, but as I said, it's because he's building all over the place. I mean, I guess he thinks that he has enough builders and whatnot. He has 43 builders. That's insane. Only to 19 shovelers. That's not enough, bro. You need to add more, or you need to build close by. Okay, looks like the ZWK is moving south, so I guess there will be a fight going on. Finally, so although Feuerkelch is well aware of that, they have a spy right here. Zwerg spy, but it doesn't matter. It's still fine, and he's prepared with the soldiers. I guess they found a little mountain here. There's a bit of a call. I guess maybe fight for it. I'm not really sure. ZWK is moving in 80 combat power, so it's not bad, but it doesn't really give you an advantage when fighting on enemy land, because enemy has they deal one more damage, I believe, at this point in the game. When you reach like 97, I think, then you deal equal damage for the bowman, but only when you reach like 105 or 7, then you deal extra damage. Okay, let's see how this fight goes. There's plenty of spears, but I feel like the armies is just not enough from ZWQ. Let's see if they use converts, because you can bait out these fights and not use the mana, only to save it later on for a more decisive blow. The concave is better for ZWQ at this point. There's a convert going on for the spears, actually. The concave on the right hand side on the bottom is way better for ZWQ. There's just not enough soldiers from the pink team. Another convert from ZWQ and another one. So he used 3 already, I believe. Yeah, and he has still one more left, and he just casted it as well. So they hope they can break this. I'm not really sure if that's possible. I mean, the bottom looks fine, but the top one will soon be. There will be a surround from the pink team. I guess Wolves used the convert of his own as well. I guess just one for now, and there's convert from Feuerkelch. So I guess they're exchanging mana at this point. Yeah, but the top one doesn't look that great. They will be able to take this tower perhaps, but it's completely, I would say, meaningless. Okay, I guess he crushed this thing, so I guess that's fine. Is there something going? Yeah, there's a pyro attack. I'm not really sure what for. Maybe for the gold, but they detected it luckily, so they won't lose anything. But I mean, still, even if they take the gold for a second, they don't really have enough gold of their own in order to attack. So that would be just in order to slow down the attack of the ZWK rolls at this point. So the converts went down, quite important. Let's see, ZWQ used all of them, but I'm not really sure what the rules. How many rules used. He still has 4 and about to hit 5. Zwerg used 1 probably. He still has 3, almost 4. And Feuerkelch, I think he used at least 1 I saw. Where are his priests? I can't see him. I'm just blind probably. Oh, here. He has 3 left. Okay, so the pink team has slightly more converts, considering the WQ used all of them. Which, it's a shame. That means the pink team, they will be able... I mean, the green team, they won't be able to use their gold advantage because they just simply don't have convert advantage at this point. I mean, the idea was alright, but I think maybe they should have sent more soldiers, because the WQ had some of his soldiers standing here. Perhaps they were afraid of counterattack, but even then, even if he sent like entire army, it still wouldn't be enough to breach this point. And now he's just losing soldiers for nothing. He has to go back. Yep. Let's count the armies at this point. ZWQ is 570. Feuerkelch 800. So that's a big difference. We can see that this attack did not really pay off at all. I don't think I'm good with the math, but that's like 230 soldiers more for Feuerkelch at this point. That's a big difference. Zwerg having a 400 army and Rules having 570, so I guess most of the advantage from Feuerkelch is evened out by Rules, who has 160 soldiers more than Zwerg. And I think that's purely based on production. They didn't really have any major fights, I believe. So the pink team has 100 soldiers more, but they have less gold, which means that they're not really able to capitalize on that. Although this gold, if I'm being honest, is quite exposed at this point. It's close to the shore. If you send, I mean, even if you go crazy, like send 3 or 4 ships, you can try to capture it just for a second, just when you attack, and that should maybe give you a bit of an advantage. Because I think if they, that's a lot of gold. Like that's most of the gold that the green team has. Rules is only like, yeah, there's like half of that, just only half of that, so that would be a quite juicy target. But as we can see, Rules production is a bit more, although he's lacking food at this point. I wonder why. The 4 pig farms, 8 bakeries, so I guess that's only temporary. He probably will catch up pretty soon. So the only victim of that attack was this this mine that's going back and forth, because first Rules had it, then he lost it in this first skirmish and at the beginning of the game, and now Zwerg lost it again. Let's check the production, whether there are major problems going on. There's a nice mine, I would say. You want to build this, as I said before. There's the mountain again. Okay, yeah, okay, so he can't fit it really at this point. Because he has plenty of food, it's just not enough mines. Feuerkelch is fine with the settlers. He's a bit low on the coal, that's why he's not really making that much gold. And I guess I can see that Zwerg has way more coal than his ally, and he's lacking... Currently he's lacking iron, but he's not sending the gold on the market. I'm not really sure what happened. He's only now doing it, but he's okay. The way market works, he's not really sending any gold because the slots are taken by the coal and the weapons. So they're still not producing gold, and they're not aware of it at all. Like there are 2 gold smelters, maybe even more. No, 2 full. So I mean, the later they realize, the less combat power they will have to use. A bit of another pause going on. I'm not really sure what happened. A toilet break maybe. so the soldiers' advantage is on the pink team side, but they just don't have enough gold to attack at this point, and they won't have for quite some time because they're just not aware that the market isn't working. And it's not a bug; it's just how it was changed. You cannot send as many resources because there is a finite number of slots that you can use. I believe it's 5 or 6. Yeah, it's 6. And we can see 3 are taken by the... Probably can't because the number is just so small, but 3 are taken by the spears. 1 is taken by the bow, and 2 remaining are taken by the coal. So I mean that there are 0 slots on the market for the gold, which means the gold is not being sent. He's building another market. He probably thinks that the market he has is broken or something. Maybe he just doesn't know how to use it, but that's the main issue. He's a bit low on stone, you can see. Hopefully it will not cause him settlers issues in the future. And he is building the remaining mines over this mountain in the north. Yeah, so I'd say 100 or 150 soldiers advantage at this point is quite meaningful difference, and they can use it. They will be able to use it to make a move if they had enough gold. Without it, it's meaningless for their victory. I mean, they cannot attack, but they will just not die as well. So the game will last quite a bit longer, I'd say. And I guess now is a good time to, because yeah, Zwerg still has not increased the number of small temples or wineries, so they're really investing in gold. I mean, he has bigger problems than making mana right now because he's low on stone, and he will have troubles with settlers if he does not fix it quite soon. Feuerkelch, on the other hand, does not have problems with stone. Well, maybe a bit of wood issues, but I think it's just because he's building so much, not because he made any meaningful mistakes. And I guess this tower is covering the gold. Or maybe not, just barely not. That's why he's probably not sending soldiers into it. He just probably crushed this tower, and move the soldiers up to the front line already. Now you can see the Zwerg's land isn't really working as smoothly as it could have. I mean, I guess it's a bit more difficult for him because it's just so long and thin. That's what she said, I guess. But that because of it, the distances are longer, and the settlers, they just needs to have more settlers in order to have a working economy. Okay, I guess they're moving up north, securing that mountain topside. They probably saw that the rules is amassing soldiers here. There's a nice legion here up north, and legion will just slay the spy. Hopefully. It's sometimes weird, right? Like when you send soldiers and they're walking right past the spy and they don't detect him. I'm not really sure why is that. It's probably when you like move command, not like attack command. That's what happens, but yeah, so they're stretching up north now. They gave up fighting south. They're searching north, spreading north. But I don't really see much fight going on over here right now. I presume green team, they're aware that they don't really have an advantage. At least they hope that they're aware that they don't really have an advantage in numbers. I'm not really sure if they're spying with if they know how much gold the enemy has, but I can check it. There's no spies from ZWQ as well, so they don't really know who has the gold. I mean, there's no. I mean, you can send spies here. I would do it. so you know what the situation is at the enemy. But like they're both making mistakes, like both sides. I would say Zwerg is making the most at this point, but they're not big enough to make any meaningful difference. And we can see there's more army going up north. They really want that piece of land, and it's mostly not because of the land, obviously, it's because of the concave. You want to have a favorable fighting line at this point. You want to surround your enemies rather than be surrounded. The Zwerg is sending pioneers here to take the land, obviously not to build anything, just to have a level, just to have their own land. And for example, when Rules is attacking north and there's counterattack south, he can fight on his own land. I presume that's the reason. Or maybe they're going for the mountain, which is surprisingly small, but very resourceful. Like this could be probably 3 coal mines. At this point in the game, might be important. There's 3 coal mines can be a lot of gold. Although Zwerg has some of the coal mines not placed yet. And same with gold. Wonder if he fixed the market yet? No. So he doesn't know how it works, I guess. He's still not sending gold at all. There's another Pios going down. Not really sure what for. Can't really do much. Maybe it's a misclick. It often happens when you... It's because it's at the bottom right corner of the map. When you like clicking, you can misclick and send it on the click on the mini map and send them in the right bottom corner. Other troops moving down. This is spreading even more to the south. And at this point, like the whole map is split in half. I would say this. Okay, this is a bit tricky to assess which fighting position is better, because Rules has a bit worse in terms of positioning, but there's too much stone, so the bowman will get stuck. And it's pretty even. I guess it's position war going on right now. Let's see how ZWK is doing. Haven't visited him for a while. He's built a lot of the mines, although not all of them still. So there's a room to grow, maybe cut the trees down. But he's, as you can see, he's searching the mountains again. He sent geologists right here. And he's revealing the mines as well here, and he's adding some more in order to use the whole resource that he has on the map. He has too much iron. Whereas Rules is the same, I guess. He just does not have enough coal to supply all of the weapons with that he built. Yeah, but his production is, I would say, pretty good. Although maybe he could invest in some more food and again build additional mines there. There's a small skirmish going on, but nothing too major. I guess he should kill the pioneers. Again, he sent the soldier and move command, so they don't really attack anything that happens there. Oh, they're making a move. I wonder if it's an attack or no. Let's see, the combat power at 92%. So still a few percent away from the target that will allow him to have equal combat, deal equal damage on enemy land. You need, I believe, 97% for the bowmen, for the archers to deal the same damage as the person defending. Because on your land you have always 100% combat power. There's a nice arch going on, and I guess ZWK is committing to the attack. I'll see if that's just poking out or he's actually going to commit, because I think they have large forces there. I guess the pioneers went through. Interesting. I would advise building healers at this point, because the armies get pretty injured in such a big and sometimes long fight. So you want to heal them into full. It can have a big impact. And there's a big fight going on. I guess Rules is also committing, but I think he does not have a combat power. Yeah, only 50 combat power, so that's not enough to fight. He's just distracting from the north. There is a bit of there's a few spearmen going down, but the pink guys, they just have too many soldiers at the bottom. There won't be much that he can do here. He has a nice concave in the middle. He can, I guess, yeah, press the control and approach. He has a bit of a spear difference here, but it just got converted back, so that old advantage just disappeared. But he has nice concave. You can see it's better to fight in like an arch like this, but there's just not enough soldiers that he has here to make any difference at this point. Rules is trying to help, but we have to keep in mind that he does not have combat power to do any major damage in here. And I guess they take the tower and they're retreating. They took another tower here and they're retreating. They didn't really gain any meaningful ground at this point. It's just a small skirmish. And I advise, yeah, to both sides, build the healers and heal your soldiers. It can make a big difference. We can see the soldiers are pretty wounded from the WQ. Some of them get stuck. Natural, you lose them some during the retreat, but not too big of a deal. Yeah, let's check the numbers again. The WQ, 700 almost. I guess he's still fighting. Not really sure why. I guess he can kill a few, because I guess they're not really paying attention, the pink guys. The WQ is picking off a few soldiers of his own, but he should go back soon, because the army of this patch will merge with the army and they'll start having a advantage position. I guess the pink guys, they transferred like majority of their army south, and middle is relatively empty, and there is another part of their army north, and I guess Rules sees it and tries to push north. I'm not really sure if he will attack all the way or just take the towers by the border. He has almost 90% combat power. He should probably, yeah, he's taking his own gold, and he'll probably be able to capture at least this tower, maybe these two as well. Let's see how they fight, but as I said, pushing this side is dangerous because of the mountains, where you can fill the place with mines, and the enemies have very difficult time to do any sort of meaningful damage and attack you. He takes the tower back, but I would advise just go back. He has the enemies just have better position at this point. He can destroy, like he can kill the spearmen and then go back. As they're staying, Wolves is fighting from his own land, so the combat power doesn't really matter. And the pink, they have to retreat. And now Wolves can approach with... Oh, there's a small sneaky attack going on the right. Won't do much, I guess. And he's pushing them back. And now pink, they have to fight both. There are two armies from two players, we have to remember. And Wolves is fighting on his own, so it's easier for him to maneuver the army. Whereas the enemies, they have to sort of coordinate, and sometimes very difficult. And I feel like now Rules overstayed his welcome a little bit. He has to go back. The enemies have better concave. At least go back to his own land again, and then resume the offensive from there, I guess. And that's what he does. He goes back to his own land and starts shooting again. He has to go back a little bit more. He's trying to take the tower in the north. Even if he does, it's meaningless at this point. And they continue fighting. Surprisingly, both teams from their own land. So they all have 100 combat power at this point. The concave is a bit better for the pink players, I would say, at this point. Slightly, but better. And I think Wolves is losing a lot of spears right now. But the pink guys, they decide to retreat once more. And Wolves is not giving up. He's pushing in. I guess he understands that they're fighting as two and he's alone, so there's a better maneuverability, but I mean, they just have more soldiers, so if he overstays his welcome for too long, he will lose much. And I think he's losing right now because they just have a better concave. And if they were ever to chase him down, he would lose quite a bit. And I think this fight, he's just losing more than he's gaining. He's doing another push in the middle. Almost missed it. Let's see how it turns out. They have to move more from the south. But maybe they'll do counterattack at north, because the army of rules is a bit thinned out in the north. I guess they're going in. But they also have to cover the middle, which they can, because they brought out the reinforcements from the back. And they back off on the north. And they have to find the middle. A bit of clusterfuck, I would say, in terms of fighting. I don't really know which side is winning. I would say the pink guys have a bit of an advantage because Rules is losing a lot of spears. There's a convert going on. I'm not sure if it's a good idea. This side is a bit less protected. This tower will, if falls, it will destroy a few buildings, but not anything meaningful in terms of infrastructure. And Rules is attacking again in the north, not giving up at all. Another convert going on in the middle. So I presume now the convert difference that the pink team had is evened out. They use the converts right now, and you have to remember that Rules has more mana production, and he's attacking north again with 96 combat power, and he made a blunder in the bottom, not fighting with his army. Only now I lost like a good 30 or 40 soldiers for nothing. But we have to remember he's fighting on two fronts, so it's very difficult to maneuver sometimes. And this north attack, I mean, it's quite even, but I would say the pink guys, they just have a little bit more. And his attack in the middle got completely crashed and had to go back with small victory, taking that small tower. He casted converts of his own, 2 to be precise, maybe a third one, some more, yeah. But I don't think he has quite enough, although the north side of the fight, he will win it, maybe if he pushes. There's another convert as the reinforcements, and he has to go back, unfortunately. We'll check the numbers when the fight stops. There's more skirmish going on, but I think WQ means to fight it. And I guess the pink guys, they don't want to give him the easy way back, and they're trying to chase him down, and the Rules is staying, and I think that's too long, bro. You have to go back. His army is very thin, only 100 soldiers, whereas the pink guys, they just have way more. And I wonder who has the gold from the pink team right now. Feuerkelch 90%, Zwerg 60, so Feuerkelch more. And I guess he has more soldiers up here. And I guess they're pushing him back, and ZW has to come for the rescue, because this army right here will not be able to defend what pink are sending. Okay, let's check the numbers real quick. Feuerkelch 850 soldiers, Zwerg 400 almost, Rules 450, and ZWQ 790. So I believe that's more or less even in terms of soldiers count, unless I can't do math. Might be the case. Yeah, and the pink guys have to go back. These towers fell, but not really much damage was done. They will recapture at least some of it, I believe. The small victory in the middle, also not really that meaningful. Now we have to keep in mind that when they were fighting, they probably were not building, so there might be some mistakes on both sides, I would say. I was Rules with settlers, because that's the main issue. Only 100 left, and is he building any houses? Only one medium house. So if he does not spot that, he will run into trouble very quickly, because 103 settlers is just not enough at this point in the game. There's ZWQ coming with some swords. He might be able to take those towers, because the army, the pink army, is on the bottom, and they would have to walk over the mountain, which is just too long. Yeah, these towers will fall unless he has a convert. Yeah, he does. Okay. I mean, I don't know. Okay, I would use. Yeah, you should use it, because the mines are quite important at this point in the game. The fighting never stops, I guess, with these guys. You have to understand that there's two armies from two players. Zwerg has like 100 soldiers, and Feuer has like maybe 250 or so. So they're sharing gold. Not a good idea, I would say. Not really sure why they're fighting like this. Zwerg has a bit of an army in the south, but I guess Zwerg ran into problems with settlers, right? Yes, he has no settlers at all, and they're losing army in the north. And as I said, that's because they're fighting at the same time as they were building, and well, it can be difficult. Especially when the game drags for so long and the fights are so big, you have to really invest all your BPM into that. And surprisingly enough, Zwerg is still not sending the gold. So that all the gold that they've done was by Feuerkelch. And it's such a shame because I feel like he has more coal. Not by a lot, but I guess they really want those towers. I guess they will take them, but at what cost? And they're going back. Oh, there were mines built by rules in order to prevent any further advancements, and he's building the healer. Nice move. 10 small. What, 10 small? And only 6 wineries. Interesting. Adding more healers to be precise. And he's overextending a little bit. I guess he wants the tower back. But he won't be able to retake it. The pink guys, they've moved quite a sizable army, but again, its army consisting of 2 players still. Zwerg about 150 soldiers, Feuerkelch, everything else around 300, I would say. It's always better to fight as 1 player when you're attacking, obviously. When you're defending 2, because it's easier to maneuver, I guess. Because 1 player can just take the whole gold, and attack. Let's take a look at the numbers again. Feuerkelch with 900 soldiers. How's production looking? It's tailed a little bit. He has settlers, it's just not enough coal at this point. Still some mines he can build. He's adding the mines I was pointing out before, but perhaps a little bit too late because he has plenty of food. Did he add any builders? Yes, he did. 26 shovelers, 4 shovelers and 27 builders. So he should maybe add even a bit more, because you can see he's not really building as fast as he could, especially when it comes to those mines, which are very crucial at this point. He started to use all of the bread that he stored, and he should be going into building even more mines, which what he is doing at this point. Which is smart. Let's see at the rules side whether he forgot about the settlers or not. 28 free, and he's adding 6 more medium residences, so there's a little bit of an issue, but he managed to catch it before it went too serious. Before it started to run into problems. He has to pause the soldiers production for a little bit, but it should not make much difference as long as he's not overflowing his weaponsmith with weapons, and he's not. He's still lacking food a little bit, and his ally just pioneered a nice portion of his land, so that's a bit of a blow. I guess they were fighting at that time when it happened. Let's take a look at ZWQ. He's looking with the settlers, 500, almost 500 free. So this guy is not running into settlers problem anytime soon. 20 farms, 18 bakeries, 9 pig farms, almost 3 slaughterhouses, and adding more woodcutters and sawmills. This guy is going all the way. He will deplete the whole stone fields on his side of the map, which is, what you should do. And he added more mines, and I guess we can see he doesn't really have food for them just yet, but considering the number of farms he's got. Yeah, that should be plenty food for them. I said earlier before that I wouldn't go above 15, but maybe that was not too smart. I mean, at this point you just want to like use all the mountains that you have available. There is perhaps a good coal mine. I mean, not good, just a coal mine. You built any coal mines at this point, even this one. So the production of the green team slightly better, simply because Zwerg is having settlers problems, although not right now. And he also managed to build another market and send the gold. Good job on that one too. And they're exchanging food, although I'm not really sure if it's necessary. I guess Zwerg doesn't really need food at this point. And Feuer also has full mines of everything, so abundance of food. And it's worth pointing out that Rules has spies here, so he knows who has the gold. Very important information. Let's see if the other team also... Yeah, they also have spies at the gold. So I guess advice that that's good to, like, what's good to do at this point: send a few soldiers patrolling the gold area, because there's most likely a spy there from your enemies. I mean, that's the only place worth spying at this point, your gold storage. Thousand soldiers broke by Feuerkelch. Nice job. ZWQ 100 behind, 900. Zwerg 500. Rules 560. So the count is very even. Only 40 soldiers more for the pink team. Right? Or... yeah. So very close. In terms of gold, it's difficult to tell because different players have it captured, I guess. Green team ZWQ has 500 bars. Rules has 3. Okay, so ZWQ has all the bars, I guess. And 500 bars gives them 100 combat power, even. Okay. And the other team, they also have almost, yeah, 40 gold bars less, which is, I mean, almost no difference at all. It gives only like 3 or 4% difference in terms of combat power, which is... I mean, there are levels that you need to reach in order to get the damage advantage, but overall it's not that big of a deal, because you're very unlikely to attack at correct moment anyway. So as we can see, they're going tooth and nail, very even at this point. The only difference I would say is that these have the additional mines in the middle, but I'm not really sure. I guess this is the next stage of the game. You just block the front. You build as many towers as you can, making it almost, I mean, very difficult to attack from this side of the map. And now the game is, they should now wait until they hit like 105 or 7 combat power and then attack, because when you hit that combat power and you attack, you have damage advantage on your bowman. And at this point, defending does not give you any advantage. You're just better off attacking. However, attacking is more difficult in a sense that there are buildings that you cannot really maneuver around very easily, and the enemy can just position favorably in this case. Let's take a look at the convert difference. Not that it makes a big of an impact on the game. WQ has a convert, and Rules has 2, almost 3. Zwerg has 1. Feuer has... let me find the priest. 2. We're approaching 2 hours and 15 minutes, so the game will not last longer than 45 minutes, but I think very soon, in 10 minutes max, they will hit the gold level, the combat power level, that will allow them to attack more favorably, more easily at this point. There's a bit of a movement of armies going on in the south. I wonder if the Feuerkelch will try to go for these 2 towers. I'm not sure, maybe. How's Zwerg and his settler situation going? Handled? Sort of, although he will have stone issues, stone problems. Probably. He doesn't have pickaxes in here. But not too big, I think. He can just crush, probably, yeah, he can crush like half of his houses at this point. It's another ship, I mean it's the same ship, which is different cargo, with pioneers going. I guess they'll try to take the gold for a bit. Sure. But I don't think it will work. Feuerkelch has prepared like he placed the gold and towers in smart positions that it's difficult to do anything with the ships at this point. Small skirmish going on, but nothing too major, I think. Wonder if he's gonna even build these towers. No, he just paused them. Okay, Feuerkelch is making a move. Now down south. Still does not have enough combat power, only 102. He's going for those towers. I mean, okay, if he takes them, it's fine. But this army from ZWK will just surround him, and then he should just go back honestly and not fight. And these towers don't really make any meaningful difference at this point. I guess he's committing all the way. But the angle on the south is just too bad for him. ZWQ is pulling more soldiers from the north, and now on his way back he will lose some additional forces, I presume. Although not too many. WQ lost even more because his spears got pulled. And they meet at the border again, and they start shooting once more. And now they go back. Yeah. You can see the WK is mass crushing the residences. He has 863 settlers. He'll still crush all those houses for material. He absolutely used all the mountains that he has. I guess he's making charcoal production. Yeah, he has 6 sawmills. Can add even more charcoal. Looks like the rules. Adding another, he added like a winery or 2. Still has 10 small temples. I guess they're looking for the advantage of the mana space. Compare the armies again. Rule 730. Zwerg 650, so there's a 100 difference. The difference is growing onto Rule's favor, his favorite here, because I mean, I feel like he just used the mountains better, and he's smoother with his production. We can see that Zwerg, yeah, he has settled problems once more, and this might be serious because he just doesn't have materials to build the houses. Yeah. He crushed it. He only has 1 sawmill. He must have crushed it on purpose or during the fight. I'm not really sure. But if his ally will not send him planks, then, or he doesn't crush the houses that he can crush, oh boy, that will be a problem. And I think that might lose them the game if it lasts for too long. And it looks like it's a very serious problem at this point. This ship is still lingering here in the back, probably fishing for this gold. I'm not sure if it will work. But we can see Feuer moving north. Plenty of spears. Will probably try to hit this location. Whereas the WK is amassing an army in the south. But probably looking to attack in this angle. And I think I like it. I would also look for the attack in here. Not because it's anything important here. It's just, I think, easier to fight a little bit. Rules can always build the mines as he just did, yeah. So it's very difficult to create a favorable working position here. Although Rules should take the remaining land, I feel like. Because I think what they want to happen is Rules will defend north, whereas the WQ will maybe push south. And that might be a problem for the pink team, because we can also see that south is also covered by Feuerkelch. I guess Zwerg has most of his army in the middle. That means if Feuer attacks north and then ZWQ attacks north, Feuer will have to fight on 2 fronts at the same time, which is very difficult to do, and there might be some issues in that regard. Okay, we can see him moving in. 108 combat power, that means he has a damage advantage over Rules when Rules is defending from his own land, and it's the perfect time to make a move at this point. Let's see where the Rules will try to defend the attack. He's not aware of that yet. There are pings going on. I'm not sure from which side from which team. Perhaps from the pink side, because Rules is only now moving his army. He will try to surround them from the north. Smart idea, and let them in to fight on the mountain. Because even if they get into this place, it's very difficult. It will be very difficult for them to go back. The only thing that they have to be careful about is that Rules needs to have combat power in order to fight from this side of the map, and he does not. Only the WQ has gold right now. We're moving up, and as we can see, the army is getting split by the mountains, by the mines. Very bad spot to attack, in my opinion. Simply because there's a big surround going from Rules, and as a Feuerkelch, you cannot really retreat safely without losing either favorable fighting position or many soldiers. However, the middle part is very good for him. Rules does not have enough soldiers here, and I feel like this will be an issue for him. He also does not have enough spears. Feuer has pushed him with the with his spears in the middle, and only now ZWK is moving in with his army to help. A little bit too late, and I think that will be an issue, because if this army from walls will be broken, the concave will be broken, then they will just have free time on the ZWQ soldiers, because it's very difficult to recover your fighting line once you lose it once. Now Rose is crushing the mines in the north, creating favorable fighting concave for himself. You can see it's very nice, and I guess they managed to salvage the situation in the north. But in the south now, there's a big pink army going on from its I believe it's Zwerg. Yeah, he doesn't have combat power just yet, so this fight down here should not be going for them, but I guess Zwerg is pushing in anyway. Up north, as Warrior managed to pull back a little bit, and he's now fighting in a pretty good line, I would say. Now, nice push in the middle. You can see the line is very, very thin, and there's no counter-attack going on from the south. They decided to defend that, and I'm not really sure if that's the correct call at this point. I feel like the green guys are losing a little bit more army than the pink team. And they allowing Zwerg to fight on his own land, whereas Feuerkelch is abusing the combat power difference that he has here. 110 combat power, that gives them 1 more damage on the archers. And the big tower finally falls. There's two towers that holding the middle. It's getting dangerous from the green team. I guess they cannot really establish a favorable fighting position for them, and I think their teamwork is a little bit lacking at this point. They cannot let the 2 towers in the middle fall, because the damage to the buildings, especially the wineries, would be significant. Nice surround by rules in the north. They managed to push back the enemies in the south, although we know that the combat power is mostly on the Feuerkelch side, and now he will get stuck in the north. As I said, the mountains are not the place you want to attack, and he will lose a sizable chunk of his army. Yeah, around these 40 soldiers will most likely fall. Yeah, and the pink guys, they have to go back. I guess Feuerkelch decided to sacrifice those soldiers. He thinks he cannot get them back, only now pulling, but he lost like a good sizable 40 or 50 soldiers for nothing, and now Zwerg is complaining about the mines. It's perfectly fine. I mean, you just the pink team, they picked a bad place to fight, simply. You cannot be mad that the enemy is using everything that they can to create a favorable fighting position for themselves. These towers fell. I guess they will try to retake them. Let's see the army, compare the armies. Feuerkelch, despite losing so many, has still 800, ZWQ almost 1,000, Zwerg 550, and Rules 500. So there is I would say Feuerkelch 800, and I think they have 100 soldiers more, the green guys, so that will be a nice time to attack. And Feuerkelch is still, I think he's overextending in this place, because there's just not enough soldiers that he can. He cannot save these towers, and he will lose another 50 soldiers. Okay, he pulls back, so that's fine. I guess they try the lack in the middle, but as I said before, even if these towers fall, the damage will not be too significant. And I guess the green guys, they know that, and they're not really worried about that yet, and only now they're pulling in. But they have enough soldiers here to be perfectly fine and defend that. I guess they should start bringing the soldiers from the north in order to help out in the fight in the middle, but this is fine. It's completely fine. They should just go in with the control and then try to wipe out those archers by the tower. Nice fighting by the green guys. They just wiping out Zwerg's army. He just does not have enough spears at this point to fight favorably in this here. He's trying to make a move in here. I'm not really sure how I feel about this. Yeah, festering food going on, and Yeah, like this at this side of the map, they just don't have enough spears. Zwerg, that is, and without enough spears, you cannot really fight favorably with simple archers. Very bad fighting for Zwerg. He just lost like 50 soldiers. Fighting going on all over the border, up north, in the middle. I guess the ZWQ and Fearles, they feel blood and they're pushing in. I mean, rightfully so. They have quite a bit of an advantage here. We can see that majority of the pink army is standing in the south, and they're lacking soldiers in the middle. A bit of a poor move by Fearles, very poor, I would say, but they finally start shooting. And they have, I think they might be able to do a significant breach in the middle. Unless Pink has some conversion here, but doesn't look like it. The problem is that they're sharing combat power, 80%, and Fearles has 97%, 96%, so I guess he needs one more in order to have an equal combat power on the enemy land, but they have a okay right now combat position. I think Pink should just go here and surround this army. Control happening here, and they're just approaching the tower. There's a convert going on, but I don't think the convert will be enough unless Fearles will not shoot. Army is depleted in the north. There's just not that much left. We can see a small army, like a 10 or 15 soldiers going on, maybe trying to take these towers. I don't think that will be enough because there's only a few spearmen. Pink are trying to desperately like weaken the soldiers of the green, but they just I think this breach will be handled for now. Presumably, I think if they pull from the south a little bit more, but doesn't look like so. And they're losing a lot of army here. Even though greens are sharing gold, they're still fighting better in this position. There's a bit of poor fight going on north. Again, lack of spears from green at this point. And now I feel like Fearles should just go back, let ZWQ take all the gold, and basically breach this position. I think they just have enough. They're still sleeping in the south. Only now they're pulling the soldiers up, but I think like it's just too late. I think the numbers difference is just overwhelmingly towards the greens at this point. They just have way too many. The fight in the middle, the breach in the middle is just too devastating for them. Fearles is taking a bit of a horrible fight in the north. He should just go back. But I guess they're not paying attention because they want to capture this middle tower. And we have to understand that the middle tower is the gateway to this gold, if they ever decide to push. Because all of these soldiers are completely out of position. And I feel like right now ZWQ again should take all the gold, attack even from the south too, and like surround this army on the mountain. That would be a devastating blow for them. The army from the south a little bit too late. The tower in the middle falls, the first one, there's the second one, the big one. And I feel like when that falls, there's an open gate for the gold, and I'm not really sure if they are even planning to push there, but the thing about like this gold being exposed, the pink guys, that they would have to go there and trying to defend that, and when you have to defend certain position that you don't want to, it just forces you into unfavorable fights, and it's not the place you want to be. Let's check the numbers real quick. Fearles 250 soldiers, Zwerg only 150, ZWQ 800, and the Feuerkelch 650 here. So I mean, a sizable difference, sizable advantage for the green guys, even though they're not really fighting perfectly at this point, but we cannot expect them to fight perfectly. I mean, they've been playing 2.5 hours at this point, and they're fighting like across the map, and ZWQ finally making a move, and we can see Feuer is completely out of position with this army. He's not defending the north, he will not be able to defend the south, I feel like, and I think he just doesn't know what to do with it. The north falls as well. There's nothing, there's no way to save these towers. There's not enough army, it just takes a few swordsmen to capture it. I guess they managed to salvage the middle and push back ZWQ and Fearles. but for how long? I mean, the whole north is just destroyed. This is not a favorable fight for ZWQ. He just stuck in between the buildings. This is not what you want to do. You want to either come forward or you want to pull back behind them so that your soldiers find a straight line. But I guess he's managing the fight in the north because they know if they take out the towers up north, that means they will. That's probably a game for them. I wonder if Feuer just left or is it temporary lag? I hope it's just a lag, because reconnecting with 2.5 hours of gameplay that would take quite some time. Yeah, they're sending swords in. Capture those towers. There's lots of production building for Zwerg. And I hope Rules has settlers, because then without settlers taking the... Yeah, he has plenty of settlers. And the first tower falls. 2 more left here, and that will be a huge blow. ZWQ has to go back in the south, but he has, I feel like, still enough to hold any potential counterattack from Feuerkelch, and they're doing fine in the north, although not really the best fighting position. Feuerkelch managed to get, I guess, the grasp of his army again and recover and sort of create a nice concave for themselves and recover a little bit, but I feel like the damage has been done at this point, and this tower is not... They won't be able to save it. There's a bit of a counterattack, I guess, going on. Or maybe the soldiers are simply pulled, but he doesn't have enough to do any damage there. There was an attempt with the ship, I feel like I missed it probably during the fight, but it doesn't matter. The production of Zwerg falls, at least half of it, but all it matters because he's not really producing anymore at this point. And yeah, Feuerkelch is not really controlling his army. Or maybe he is. This is just army from Zwerg. They're trying to desperately do a counterattack at the bottom because they know they have to destroy production of their enemies. Even if they retake this land, it's not enough. The damage has been done, and he lost too many weaponsmiths and too many there's even goldsmith and whatnot. Probably a sizable wood production as well. And yeah, they're taking the ground back and north, and they're fighting well. I guess ZWQ and the Rules are having issues there, but the fight in the south isn't going well. They just have too many, ZWQ has too many soldiers and too good a concave. This won't help, buddy. And there is also a convert and a festering fear, which pulls a nail to that attack. There's no way it can work. And the only chance that they had of evening of the score was here in the south. And in the north, I guess the Greens, they have to go back all the way to the country, hopefully without losing this whole army, because then this is wide open. That'll be interesting, but yeah, but let's see how it plays out. They're probably sending all the soldiers. All the soldiers they're producing are coming in here, and I hope the damage that they're taking will not lead to some devastating counterattack, because the gold is also here. So losing these towers would mean that they lose gold, and that would open. That would be maybe a way for the pings to recover, but I don't really see how. Although they're trying, maybe they're going for the 3-hour mark. 3-hour mark, the decider by the stats, but I still think that the green team would have like more points in the statistics. I feel like Zwerg messed up his production, like his settler situation a little bit. He's also not producing anything right now. Well, we can see Feuerkelch managed to pull back Rules all the way up the north, but he doesn't have anything to recapture those, to take those towers. There's just a few spearmen. That's not enough for that. There's a small counterattack going on in the middle, but it will also be thwarted by ZWQ and Rules army. They managed to successfully retake the towers they lost in the middle, but they lost all the buildings there, so it doesn't really matter. They attempt to take the gold, but luckily there is a rally from ZWQ from the barracks, and they will be able to stop that. Nice move by the Feuerkelch. killing off the remaining of Rule's army in the north. But it won't be enough because the reinforcements from ZWQ and Rules are coming in. We'll be able to save the tower easily, considering there's no spearmen to take it. The counterattack in the middle also has been stopped. And I feel like after the dust settles, the Greens will have a significant advantage, and they're still gaining the advantage because Rules did not lose any production buildings. He's still producing way more, whereas Zwerg's production is almost stopped. So it's all on the Feuerkelch to kill the two players, and I don't feel like he can do it at this point. There's not much army left either for Feuerkelch. He has settlers and everything, but there's not enough mountain. His mountain mines are depleted. He has no iron right now. Okay, and Rules and ZWQ managed to push back the counterattack north, although there is still a small army from Feuerkelch, but it's not threatening the towers. It's very injured and not threatening the towers because they're simply archers. They don't really take towers very well. And it looks like ZWQ will be able to capture the last large tower in the middle, destroying some mines, although this small tower is also defending them, so we'll have to go a bit further, I guess. I'm not really sure what's the plan for the pink guys is currently. Maybe they're just processing the loss at this point. I feel like they would have to analyze the replay and check out the statistics to determine what caused them the defeat, but I would say the most prominent problem was, at least to me, the Zwerg's production and lack of settlers for a long time, and the gold too. Like, they weren't sending the gold quick enough. I feel like they had an advantage in soldiers for some time, but the gold production was not fast enough to capitalize on that, and they just lost their chance. And the fighting also in the north, it looked okay for a second because the Rules didn't really have enough settlers, enough soldiers over there, but the mountain really fucked them there, and they couldn't retreat as swiftly as they would like to. And then when that happened, the green team realized that the middle was wide open, and that breach in the middle sealed the deal and allowed them to... And after that, everything just snowballed out of control for them, sort of. Now there's a bit of a miss micro going on the WQ side, but he fixes it very quickly, and they kill the remaining of pink armies, and they will claim the victory, I would say, pretty soon. Towers in the south are not protected. Zeblik is pushing in, but I don't think he will be able to capture many of them, considering he does not have any swordmen or spearmen. They're making a push. The middle tower, which is probably going to fall. Still trying to hold on for the middle tower, but I mean, it's just a matter of time before the reinforcements from the south from ZWQ arrive. Let's surround this whole the small army and clean this up. They're only going for the gold, but I think they should. They have full control over the north side of the map. Taking the gold will allow them to win quicker, because we have to remember the timer is ticking. They have 17 minutes left to close this game, or else it will be decided by the stats, which I'm pretty sure, 100% sure actually, that it's favorable. It's also favoring them, but just to make sure
They should just take all the towers, and I guess Feuerkelch and Zwerg will try to stall the game for a few more minutes, but I think they should realize that Zwerg does not have enough production to recover. A bit of a miss micro from there by ZWQ. No surprise that they're already very tired after such a long game. They're taking the last tower north. They should switch the production of weapons to only spears and swords at this point. They also should probably try to attack the gold, but it looks like Feuerkelch is crushing. Probably his last tower. Yeah, he just crushed, so he does not have any tower, and he calls him GG and thank you. It was definitely a long game and maybe boring at the start, but the fight in the end was obviously like almost an hour of fighting non-stop. Last tower is being taken. Yeah, as I said at the beginning, those games when the Romans are like two Romans and they're both on the same, like the team is on the same side of the mirror, they tend to go long unless you make a rush or something and it works or no. If the game goes beyond like 50-minute mark and the teams are more or less even, it ends up like this, like a 3-hour marathon. Which, I mean, some players like and others don't. The downside of it is there's not much going on for like 2 hours, unfortunately. Zwerg has been destroyed and has a GG. Because I wrote as a Feuerkelch, fuck. Okay. Leave and take a look at the stats. Compare the armies overall. Yeah, there's a bit of a 300 soldiers advantage on the ZWQ and rules side, but they have less gold, significantly less gold. I guess at the end there they weren't producing as much gold as the enemies, because when the initial attack broke out, they were more or less even. Only probably when I wasn't checking later on, when during the fight, the production, maybe they stopped producing. Maybe they stopped producing gold because they favored the soldiers, not really sure. Have to check the replays, guys, for that. You can see huge mana advantage for rules. As for the fighting goes, Feuerkelch, nice fighting there. I guess I think the north fight wasn't the best, although he managed to salvage it because rules didn't have enough soldiers there to sort of properly deflect the attack. And then the south fight wasn't that bad either, I guess. But Zwerg, there, no surprise there. He fought relatively well. Like, he has relatively a lot of fights compared to how many soldiers he had, because you have to remember, when you lose control of your army and when you the enemy breaches your front, your line of defense, and then it's very difficult to fight properly. You sort of sending reinforcements in and sort of die one by one, and he managed to do a relatively good job considering how bad the situation was. Yeah, but they just, that fight in the middle, I think the gold was a bit slow as well, and they managed to win. Very close game though. GG's to both sides, I guess. Rules and ZWQ advance further, and the Feuerkelch and Zwerg, they go to the losers bracket, which I'm sure they will do well in, because they're one of the better teams here in the tournament. Thank you guys for watching. We powered through it, almost 3 hours. It's also kind of a shame that I decided to do it alone and the game goes for the 3 hours, but I guess a karma or something. Thank you guys for watching and have a great evening and night. Bye bye.